go ahead and watch this video.
Democrats are demanding answers from the Trump administration,
Oh, they
saying
are.
top officials lied to them about ousting Nicolas Maduro and questioning whether the president violated the Constitution
You
by
guys lie all the
attacking
time.
Venezuela without congressional approval. Here with me now is a member.
The way that Obama did to Gaddafi. The way that I don't know, pretty much every war since World War II has been fought. What are we talking about here? But okay, let's see what they got to
Senate
say.
Foreign Relations Committee, Democrat Chris Murphy of Connecticut. Thank you so much for being here.
Guy.
Certainly.
What is your reaction to this operation?
Well,
Not a good one.
Clearly this is wildly illegal. This is a president who has been operating illegally since he was sworn into office, stealing.
Have you forgot about Panama and Noriega? It's the same shit that happened to him. He's being prosecuted in the same state, in the same district that Noriega was prosecuted. What are we talking about?
From the American people seizing spending power.
What's
and
illegal?
Now dragging America
Right.
into
What's
the
he
war
doing?
overseas.
That's illegal.
The president cannot run a military operation of this size, cannot invade a foreign country without coming to Congress first, without allowing the American public to weigh in. America
He didn't invade. They captured a fugitive who's a narco-terrorist who has a warrant out for his arrest. But let's talk about invasions. Let's talk about it for a second. What about Iraq, Afghanistan, Libya? But I'm willing to bet that he's not going to bring that up.
doesn't want this war. Nobody asks
not a war.
for this because it has nothing to do with American national security. And I think that's the most important conversation to have.
Drugs coming into the country isn't a problem. We've had a war on drugs for over 20 years. I think it's going on 30 years now. They catch the dude who was the head of a state who was selling drugs and moving the drugs into our country, and that's a bad thing? Okay.
Listen, Venezuela is not a security threat to the United States. They're not threatening to invade us. There is no terrorist group like Al-Qaeda operating there that has plans to attack the United States.
Tren de Aragua? No? Not threatening enough for you? Taking over a building in Colorado is not good enough for you?
To the extent that you care about the drug trade, yes, they produce drugs, but those drugs go to Europe. Fentanyl is the drug that's killing Americans. That's not coming from Venezuela. Venezuela produces cocaine. 90% of it is not coming to.
Oh, only cocaine. Only 20% of what the comes into the country comes from Venezuela. Did you it's like, okay. It's literally like you catch a little kid with his hand in the cookie jar and then he says, "Well, my hand's no longer in the cookie jar." "Well, you're worried about me taking cookies, but my brother took money from you." Bro, they're both wrong, okay? Do you not understand that the reason they went after Noriega is because he was allowing stoppage in Panama and safe harbor for the people who were trafficking said drugs? You guys tell me, I don't know.
To the United States. This seems to be mostly about oil and natural resources.
Which is bullshit. It's not about oil. There's been an embargo on them for oil. Not only that, but they produce a thick oil, a oil that's not as easy to refine like it is the oil in Saudi Arabia and in the Middle East, okay? It's a different kind of oil. This is something that took me, literally, I just did a quick Google search on oil and trying to understand it, and I found this out. Yes, the U.S. has refineries that are better prepared to refine the oil that's coming from there, but they haven't been buying oil from them. The oil that Venezuela has been selling it to China, Russia, North Korea, because we had an embargo on them. Like, what are you... This is just about oil. What is wrong with you? Are you smoking bricks, bro? Are you okay?
Trump's entire foreign policy is corrupt.
Oh, of course.
Russia, the Middle East, and now Venezuela is all about making money for his friends. And Wall Street, the oil industry, they can make a lot of money off of Venezuela if they run it. You saw within hours of the invasion the announcement of a group of Wall Street investors, energy industry investors, planning a trip to Venezuela to make money off of.
I did not see that. I need to see it. You know what? Let's pull this card. Let's see. Let's go to Google real quick. Is there a planned trip for oil investors to Venezuela? Let's see what Google pops up. Yeah, a group of 20 U.S. investors, including officials from finance and energy sectors of Venezuela, planned for March 2026. This trip is being organized by Charles Myers, chairman of the Political Risk advisory firm Signum Global Advisors following the recent U.S. action that led to the capture of Nicolas Maduro. The investors plan to meet with the new government to explore potential investment opportunities, particularly in the oil industry, which it seems as the centerpiece of Venezuela's potential economic recovery. However, major U.S. oil companies like ExxonMobil and ConocoPhillips have so far been publicly hesitant to commit, indicating they are monitoring the political situation and emphasizing the need for stability before making significant investments. The U.S. government has reportedly told oil executives that they must invest heavily if they hope to be compensated for assets that were appropriated 2 decades ago. So that last sentence is very important because 2 decades ago, if you know what happened in Venezuela, is Chavez kicked out a lot of the American oil a lot of the American side of the oil business. But if you look back to the I think it was the 20s or the 30s, who built up Venezuela's oil refineries and the ability to even mine for oil? Do you know who it was? It was us. And let me just Google it to show you guys, so you don't think that I'm just spewing bullshit. So, who built Venezuela's oil infrastructure? Let's see. Venezuela's oil infrastructure was primarily built by major international oil companies, especially U.S. firms like Standard Oil, Shell, Gulf Oil, starting in the 1920s and 30s, developing the industry under dictator Juan Vicente Gomez, leading to Venezuela becoming a top global producer, with nationalizing efforts later by PDVSA in the 70s. Exactly. So U.S. and European companies, American companies, Standard Oil, Gulf, and Royal Dutch Shell were instrumental in discovering oil, establishing large-scale production and building pipelines and refineries, transforming Venezuela from agriculture to oil-based by 1929. This is a perfect example of, if you know your history, you understand it. Now, but would you rather have them working with our oil companies, or would you rather have them working with Russia, China, North Korean oil companies? I mean, I think a pretty straightforward answer. I know what my answer is going to be. I don't really care who the president is. I care about us doing better. Quick. So he wasn't wrong on the trip, and he wasn't wrong on saying that there is a trip planned. But the way he's phrasing it is like, oh, well, these are all Trump's buddies. It's just people that he wants to make a bunch of money for. And it's like they're going there. And maybe I'm putting this in the best light possible, but I'm just not a negative person to assume the worst part of it. But they're going there to work on making sure that this situation gets better, because clearly they're not producing as much oil as they once were. If you are in a profession and you're not doing very good of managing it, the next best thing you could do is bring in somebody or people who are good at managing said profession, have shown that proficiency, and then could use the knowledge they've gained and the proficiency they've gained in your industry to help you grow your company. That's common sense. Is that automatically deemed imperialism? I wouldn't call it that, but apparently, this guy does.
Of this invasion, off of this ouster.
Or an invasion.
So, unfortunately, once again, you're seeing that this president's foreign policy, the invasion of Venezuela, the ouster of Maduro, is about making his crowd filthy rich. It has nothing to do with American national security.
Oh, okay, it has nothing to do. You know what? Let me show you guys a quick video. Let me show you guys a quick video just so you don't think that I'm bullshitting. Let's watch this.
Quickly turn to Venezuela, where Maduro once again demonstrated his complete disregard for democratic norms and proceeded with his illegitimate inauguration. As President Biden emphasized during his meeting with President-elect Edmundo Gonzalez Urrutia on Monday, January 6th, we believe that it is essential that the will of the Venezuelan people is respected. In coordination with our partners, we've given Maduro and his representatives every opportunity to restore democracy, but they haven't. So today we are building on all of our previous actions and taking further major actions. We announced new sanctions on key Maduro-aligned officials as a part of our efforts to hold them accountable, and we imposed more visa restrictions totaling nearly 2,000 individuals. We also increased the reward amount to $25 million for Nicolas Maduro and his so-called Minister of Interior.
The Biden administration wanted Nicolas Maduro in jail too? Oh.
Part of the Department of State's Narcotics Rewards Program.
Oh. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. But I thought he was it was a sovereign nation. And you're telling me that you're defending a dictator? Is that what I'm hearing correctly?
Security.
Can I just go back to the legality and the point that you made about needing to come to Congress first?
Oh, wait, let's go
Can I
back.
just go back to the legality and the point that you made about needing to come to Congress first?
Yes, please go
You
back.
know
Go back,
that
yeah.
for decades, Congress has let Democratic and Republican presidents sort of go for it on military actions. I mean, look at
Oh,
President
okay.
Obama in Libya.
Oh.
And so it's not new that
clap
Congress
back.
has become, frankly, impotent on issues and matters of
Damn,
war.
impotent.
That's absolutely true. And
Give him
Congress
some
needs to
Viagra.
own its own role in allowing a presidency to become this lawless. The fact of the matter is
What?
that the president's justification makes no sense here. He says that this was just a law enforcement
You just walked right past what she just asked you. How's this not law and order? This is the same thing that happened to Noriega. We filed charges after they saw the picture of him and Escobar. And if you know the Pablo Escobar story, you'll know this. And if you don't know, I suggest you go look this shit up because it's very real. It's exactly the same thing. Okay.
operation. Well, there are people with warrants all over the world. That doesn't give the President of the United States the power to launch $1 billion invasion of those countries to.
Now it's $1 billion. This dude is all over the place. A what? There are people with warrants all over the world. How many of them are oppressing a whole fucking country, bro?
Bring a fugitive to justice. Yes, Congress should have stepped in and either authorized or prohibited President Obama's actions in Libya. Yes, the United States Congress has sat on the sidelines to allow presidents to become more and more powerful in foreign policy, but that doesn't mean that it suddenly gives a imprimatur of legality to this massive invasion of a foreign country that.
Yes, it does. It's called precedence, and I know that.
The American public didn't ask for.
You know, there's no question that Maduro was a destabilizing force, not just in Venezuela.
You see how she stuttered? She was about to say dictator. That's destabilizing force. Are we now? Oh my God. I think the problem in America, right? And I'm gonna make this just as simple as possible. I think the problem in America is that you go to school and they don't teach you the difference between obfuscating and the truth. So people are going to watch this and take this for what it is. She literally has not called him a dictator. He is the definition of a dictator. He seized control. He then oppressed his people by a secondary force, which is the gangs that are in Venezuela, and allowing them to shut down people who protest. When he had sanctions placed against him, he then turned to selling drugs, killing Americans, which is not a claim that I make a lot here on this channel, but I'm gonna make it today. Killing Americans, and she refuses to call him a dictator. But Trump is a dictator. Remember this? I'm trying to. This shit is like yo. The moment you I don't know how people can watch this and really believe that CNN is news or is impartial
in the region. And there are people celebrating in the streets all over South America and Venezuelan expats.
Yeah, because he was a dictator.
Is it fair to say that there is some benefit in Maduro not being in power?
But what changes? I mean, you just heard Senator Cotton
what
effectively
changes?
not be able to explain who's running the country now. Delcy Rodriguez is.
He's literally going to he's going to talk to the judge right now. It's been maybe 48 hours, let's say maybe 55 hours since he was taken.
Is a very powerful figure in her own right, handpicked by Maduro. Russia and China still provide enormous support to that country. What changes? Why would Venezuela stop its export of drugs? It's
Because the next motherfucker doesn't want to get rendition to the United States of America? What changed once they caught Escobar? What changed once they took down the Cali cartel? What changed? A lot of shit has changed. Now, if we're gonna, and this is where I'm gonna be fair. I understand there's still gonna be drugs. That's still gonna happen. There's still demand. There's still people bringing it in. I get that. But you gotta start somewhere. And this is another thing too, where, I've seen a lot of people say, oh, Trump is doing this, and that's not gonna change anything. This is not gonna change anything. Nothing changes fast as fuck. Everything is incrementally changed. We did not get to where we are in 4 years. We got here by 50 years worth of policies, whether you disagree or agree with them. I personally think they were trash. To get out of this hole, it might take another 50. I'm just saying. But what that does right now is it shows anybody else in the region like, yo, you better chill out, because Trump is going to come get you. I don't know about y'all, but I'm not trying to get woke up in the middle of the night by Delta Force talking about, let's go, you going on vacation to the United States. No, I would be moving very differently if I was selling drugs in South America after I saw that operation. There are not very many countries who could do what we just did, if there are any at all.
Harassment of U.S. interests in the region. There's really no explanation for how American interests are changed at all with a Rodriguez administration that right now seems to be intent on carrying through and carrying forward the policies of Nicolas Maduro.
2019, you wrote an op-ed and you called for Maduro to be gone. You said,
Exactly.
let's get one
Look
thing
at that.
straight, there should no longer be any debate about Maduro's lack of democratic legitimacy. The Trump administration is right to put restoring Venezuelan democracy at the center of our approach to this crisis. A return to a stable democracy is in the interest of the Venezuelan people and the United States and the hemisphere.
Right. You remove the dictator from your backyard.
We don't know what's going to happen with regard to the civilian leadership there. Tom Cotton was just here saying that he hopes that there are democratic elections. Isn't that what you want?
Well, the rest of that article was a criticism of President Trump's early moves to saber rattle around regime change. Listen, there are evil, brutal dictators all over the world. That does not give the American president the right to invade those countries, in large part because we have seen how this script plays out. I watched an interview with Senator Cotton. You asked him what the difference was between Iraq and Venezuela. He didn't say the difference was we aren't going to invade Venezuela like we invaded Iraq. He said that if we invade Venezuela, which may be part of the president's plan, it's going to go really well. Over and over again, we have seen these warmongering neocons, many of which have influence in this White House, cheerlead us into war under the
Well, judging by how this first operation went, I think we do just fine. I'm not agreeing. I'm not saying I think that we should go to Venezuela. I don't think that at all whatsoever. But judging by how quick we caught Homeboy and how we couldn't catch Osama, I mean, I think we wouldn't be that bad. And actually, in this war, I would actually think the population is with us, because they completely agree with removing Maduro and removing the people that he had in power. Do you know that he purged the oil companies from the representatives that they had and put people in these oil companies that were loyal to him? Which is the exact same thing Chavez did. That's why it's called Chavismo. I'm willing to bet he doesn't know that. And if he does know that,
eyes of removing a very bad man, that ends up getting a lot of Americans killed. And if this is really just about the oil,
that's not what happened in Libya. Even though Libya now is, a terrorist hotbed because they removed Gaddafi. But they removed Gaddafi not because he was a bad guy. They removed him because of some of the things he was striving to. He was striving to, unify the continent of Africa under one currency that wasn't the US dollar.
This is really just about the natural resources. This is just about getting a bunch of Donald Trump's friends on Wall Street even richer. I don't think there's a single American family who would support having their son or daughter put into harm's way to defend the interests of Wall Street. This is once again American oil interests, American financial interests coming.
See, I can agree with him on that. There's nobody who would want to see their kids go be a part of this war. That I can agree with 100%.
Before the actual national security interests of the United States.
I do want to ask about a briefing that the Secretary of State and Defense held with senators. You were there
Yep.
last month about Venezuela. Can you talk about what they said and whether or not that actually bore out?
Well, I can certainly tell you the message that they sent was that this wasn't about regime change. I mean, they came to Congress and they literally lied to our face. They said, this is just a counter-narcotics operation. This is about trying to interrupt the drug flow to the United States. Right around that same time,
You know what's ironic about this? And I don't mean to keep stopping the video, but it's just coming to me. They're calling this regime change when they just went and got one person. Yeah, they may have blew up a bunch of shit, but the shit they blew up was defending the person that they were trying to get. Doesn't regime change have multiple steps? This is like arresting the drug dealer in the neighborhood, and they come with a ridiculous amount of police force. This is like raiding 6-7 people at once to grab the kingpin, and they raid everybody at the same time, and you're gonna call it regime change?
White House Chief of Staff said publicly, if we ever had boots on the ground in Venezuela, of course we would have to come to Congress. Listen, there's no way to trust this administration. They aren't being straight with the American people. There isn't even a briefing scheduled for Congress next week to explain, A, what happened, and B, what the plan is moving forward. But yes, I mean, I think everybody in that briefing heard the administration say, this is just a targeted counter-narcotics operation. This has nothing to do with regime change.
And it was against a narco.
Truth in that room.
Senator,
how's that? Guys, tell me in the comments, because I don't know. Am I going crazy? Am I misinterpreting these things? You guys tell me. I don't know, because this is boy oh boy.